I was thinking about my first visit to Covenant Seminary, flying in this afternoon. It was over 30 years ago, I'm sure, really, but I'd spent a good bit of my early 20-somethings in the world of L'Abri. I came back to America and found the Ligonier Valley Study Center near Pittsburgh, and I spent a couple of years there as well. So I was deeply formed by these sort of beyond the regular curriculum, beyond the academy experiences where people were inviting you to ask other kinds of questions with Francis Schaeffer and with R.C. Sproul. And I had dug into that and worked hard at that and apprenticed myself to these people and their ways of thinking. And I worked for InterVarsity for a number of years, and out of those years, one of the people at Ligonier called me and said, he was interested in creating something. Would I be interested in working with him on this idea? And one day we both flew to St. Louis, and we spent a day talking to faculty here about, would there be some way to connect what Ligonier had been, what this person still imagined it might be in the future, with what Covenant Seminary was doing. And it didn't happen, and we all went on with our lives. And there are more stories to tell, but I began to have friends who not only went to school here, but began to teach here along the way. And some of my teachers, my own tutors, like Jerem Bars, joined the faculty along the way. And I still remember when Richard Winter, who then followed him later on, called me and said, would I be interested in moving to the English L'Abri to take Jerem's place there? And it didn't happen. We didn't end up doing that. But there's been a lot of history and confluence of people and ideas over time that have bound me up with Covenant Seminary. I remember, telling Don Guthrie years ago, who'd been a friend of mine, call my friend Dan Doriani and tell him you're moving to St. Louis and what you've been doing, and surely there's something you might be able to do at Covenant Seminary. And he didn't do it, and finally I said, Don, why don't you have to do that? And he finally did it, and he joined the faculty, then became the dean of the seminary for a number of years as well, and was a much loved professor and part of the life here for many, many years. And Mark Dalby and I, have first memories of long ago in life, and when we were much younger and stronger and more vital men. But I've watched his life over all these years and happily watched him be here at the seminary and had many conversations with him and others along the way about the best of the seminary and its own needs and its own longings. And I've taught courses here. I taught a week-long course for Jerem Bars one time in January. He was out of the country or something, and taught a January course, a short-term course. Have spoken to the faculty here on a couple of occasions in their August retreats over the last years. And in the last one, I spent the day with the faculty at Mark Dalby's home, talking about why this relation of faith to vocation to culture ought to be at the very heart of seminary curriculum. And I still remember Don Guthrie saying to me, he was the dean at the time, saying, okay, if we did something with this, would you help us? And I said, well, of course I would. And Urbana, the university's great missionary convention, was here in St. Louis that winter, and I was speaking at it, and Don and I had lunch together one day, and he said, well, here's our proposal. And it was for a new Doctor of Ministry degree named a degree in faith, vocation, and culture. And so for the last number of years, he and I have been working on that course together, and this cohort we've been working with for the last 3 years, it will be finishing this summer. And so I have a lot of investment in some ways, never having been a student here or having taught here, but I care a lot about what Covenant Seminary does, and it's a long and good history.